Okay, friends, today a wonderful thing happened, which was absolutely unexpected for me, to be honest. BAND-MAID actually released their new album, CONQUEROR, digitally. Uh, of course, I ordered the physical copies as well, and I was sitting, waiting, thinking like I'll get them, I don't know, at best by Christmas, by Western Christmas, because Russian Christmas is on January 7th. But okay, by New Year, let's say by New Year. And then I wake up this morning, and what do I see? I see Facebook, Reddit, and all the social media just flooded by the comments of people who say CONQUEROR is released. And so I was thinking for a while, like, should I go and buy it digitally, or should I wait for physical disc to arrive? And of course I couldn't resist, so I went to Ototoy. You know this website, Ototoy. Let me show it if you don't know yet. I'll put the Ototoy, Japan, CONQUEROR. So I'll put it in the I put the link in the description for you to see. I just wanted to show you what I did. So you can see that actually they released it. It was released officially December 4th, midnight, so 00 a.m. And it was available when I woke up this morning. And I actually bought all the FLAC copies of it, like you set it here, FLAC. Then you create an account, you log in, and then you can just add it to cart and have it for whatever small price of 0 yen, because I already bought it. So it was funny actually, because I bought 3 songs before which were released, which were Endless Story, which were Dragon Cries, and Trinme. So those 3 I bought before, and they had 0 price here at Ototoy, and so they were excluded from the final price, and it was very nice of them. So okay, I bought it. I immediately put it into my wonderful player, and here it is. So with some trepidation, I should say, I started to listen. That, like, first I read the comments in Facebook and Reddit, and just to prepare myself for this monumentous event, because it was like such a long expected album, and people were commenting on different songs, and of course all the positive responses. People said like, yeah, I don't like this like couple of songs. Some people were critical about that, and with that idea in mind, I started to listen to the album. I listened to it, I think like 3 times, all the list, and after this I was able to identify my favorite song. There were actually few quite unusual songs here. People were expecting that BAND-MAID will go very diverse with this album. And the girls themselves, they also commented on that, saying that yes, they were going diverse. Miko said pay attention to lyrics. I paid attention to the Dragon Cries lyrics. It's the only one I can understand so far. So my favorite song is Flying High. It's really amazing. You know, as you can see, that becomes my custom. I listen to it 39 times, usually, yeah, 39 times. It's like it was unintended, actually. Almost every time I react to a song, I listen to it 31 times for some strange reason. I don't know why. So I listened to it 31 times from this morning because I just cannot like break my mind from this song. Really, I cannot. I'm sitting here like I need to go, to do something, and I'm like, no, just a little bit, just wait a little bit. The song will end and I will go, and then it starts over again. I cannot sit here and I cannot really leave this place. Okay, I'll do this reaction. It's like I don't like this idea of having reactions to the songs, but this one I do have a few comments about it. So, without further ado, let's turn it on. There's again so much happening in this song. Okay, the one thing I wanted to comment upon. Okay, I just posted at the place where they posted, but I think I'll have to return to the beginning because I want to emphasize a few things. First of all, it starts with a very strong bass line, and Misa is really going funky here. The overall style of the song is the style which I like. As I commented in one of the previous videos about like the Dragon Cries, and actually Rin is like that. It's like the soldiers marching, yeah, that sort of steady rhythm which they keep. And here it's about the same. Like they have very steady rhythms, so they don't go in. BAND-MAID loves change the rhythm. They love this tempo change. But here in this type of songs, it's like really pumping. They build the strength, or I don't know how to express it correctly, but it's like they try to project the image of power. So these sort of songs, like songs of power. Also, Psyche's vocals are just amazing here, really amazing. And there are some very interesting instrumental things which I will comment upon. Okay, let's continue from this point on. Because I have like my favorite part of it, which is like closer to the end. I'll ask you to pay attention to that. Okay, let's continue. Okay, I fucked it up. Okay, sorry. Where was I? Somewhere here. Let's continue. I want you to pay attention to what Akane is doing. There was an interesting discussion about that, like how great is each particular girl from BAND-MAID. Generally, of course, people agree that Mach Trinity, as they call it, so Misa, Akane, Kanami. So Mach Trinity is really at the top level of the music, of the instrumentalist rating, let's say. Like Misa is aspiring to be the best bass player in the world, not only in rock style, but just like she said, her aspiration is when people say bass player, they immediately think Misa. And everybody who knows BAND-MAID would agree with that. Misa is really, really a unique bassist, I would say. And then Akane, of course. Akane is like people say, okay, reincarnation of John Bonham. We know that that's like exaggeration, because Jimmy Page actually probably didn't use this word, and I can't imagine Jimmy Page saying about anybody that he or she is reincarnation of John Bonham. That would be really impossible to say. But some people actually said that this could be like lost in translation, or like question of translation. So Jimmy Page loved Akane very much, and he asked to take photograph with her, and he encouraged her to press on, to become really to play, to become better and better drummer. Akane, of course, was like on the seventh heaven with this, and it could be possible that Jimmy Page said something through an interpreter, like, Akane, you're a great drummer, your style reminds me of John Bonham style of drumming, and the style reminds of, could be translated in Japanese like, you play in the spirit of John Bonham, and you play in the spirit of John Bonham could be interpreted as you are a reincarnation of John Bonham. So let's agree that she is. To be honest, like I tried to compare recently Led Zeppelin and BAND-MAID in terms of drums. And as usual, I should tell you that Akane is better than John Bonham. Like really, she's just a step ahead of John Bonham. John Bonham was not really very say complicated or something. After all, Led Zeppelin was pretty much a rock band. Yes, they played blues a lot. They had some slower songs. They had some really difficult songs. But actually, drums are not that, they don't stand out so much in Led Zeppelin music. I should agree that probably, yeah, people pay so much attention to John Bonham because he was really complicated. But it's like you really have to go deep, you know? Like, you would not hear it. Actually, there is a lot of bands where drums really stand out. The one example which comes to mind when I was listening to this particular song, Flying High, and Akane always, like, she really draws attention in music. So, uh, my uh, what I remembered about was actually King Crimson. So if you know King Crimson, uh, I think you should know it, of course. Uh, they had this drummer Giles. What was his name? It was initially Giles and Fripp. Yes, so there were two brothers, bass player Giles and his brother drummer. He was also Giles. I'll play you just a little bit of 21st Century Schizoid. I hope it will not be blocked by YouTube because it exists actually on YouTube in various forms. So 21st Century Schizoid should not be blocked. Just listen to. That's why Tony Visconti called them J-prog. That's the style of drumming which really stands out. Like John Bonham doesn't stand out, but Giles actually does. So okay, just for you a little bit of it. "21st Century Schizoid Man" actually starts as this very like industrial. Yeah, it's this style of music called industrial, where there's a lot of sounds, you know, and or psychedelic actually. It was used a lot later by Pink Floyd. Here it comes. Okay, I'll stop here. It just was just for demonstration purposes for you. That's the drumming which really stands out. Yeah, the drums as really one of the musical instruments in the band. I hope you noticed it. So, BAND-MAID, I actually created, where is my playlist? Conqueror. I created a special playlist for this. So, Flying High is really like that. Akane is like that. You know, she really, like, actually her drum set is simple. That's what many people noticed. Initially, she had just what is called the tom, yeah. So she has like a snare drum, yeah. She has a tom and she has a floor tom, and of course the bass drum, and of course the cymbals. So before she had just one tom, then she added another bigger one. But she creates a melody with it, you know. She's really creative with it. Okay. That was a shout out for Konami. But also Misa. Misa is like, she's really interesting here. You probably noticed that style of BAND-MAID. They really know how to mix the song well. So when Psyche sings the main verse, they Konami tries to compose the music in such a way so that not to overlap the frequencies with the voice frequencies. Yeah, the voice is like in this middle frequency range. Yeah, the drum is all over the place. Okay, drum never interferes with the voice or with any other instrument, so drum can always be present. Bass is like below, so bass also never interferes. But then guitars do interfere with the voice because they're also in the same range. And that's what Konami does all the time. When Saiki sings, it's only Akane and Misa. They play. But then Konami has a very tricky way to do it, like when they switch to chorus, then she starts to shred at the background, which is like very unusual, for rock type of music, actually for any type of music, because usually they like switch roles, like, okay, the singer is singing and everybody like receding to the background. Then when guitar comes, it means the voice stops, or like the voice goes like in Led Zeppelin, for instance, at the coda section, at the end. The voice just goes into some repetitive pattern where they just repeat the chorus or some like short phrase, and then the guitar like shreds there and does the solo at the end of the song. That was the style of the 70s for Deep Purple, for Led Zeppelin, very often for Black Sabbath as well, so for all those founding fathers. BAND-MAID never does it, so they don't use this pattern at the end. But what Konami does, that she adds her solo, she actually plays the solo continuously at the background behind Saiki quite often. Okay, let me try to find the place where I stopped before, which was, I think, somewhere here, a little bit earlier. And let's start it again. And we still have not reached my favorite part of this song. Oops. Sorry. That was the wrong one. Did you hear it? What Misa was doing? I wanted to pay attention to this, but I spoke already too much. Okay, once again. What is this called? Vibrato, yeah? There is this guy in Asterism, the bass player. He has what is called the whammy bar, yeah, on his bass. Misa doesn't have it, but what she does is like she uses this like guitar vibrato on bass. Like, it's very interesting. Let me do it once again. Oops, I forgot to turn on my mic. Okay, I'll repeat it once again. That's where Saiki starts singing, and you can hear that guitars stop, and only Misa is playing, and Akane is playing, and Saiki is singing, not to interfere with her voice. So BAND-MAID girls, they really know how to compose the songs, really great. Remember, I can't cry, one more thing I wanted to note is that they use these double vocals very much. Yeah, as you can hear. So Psyche is singing and then Miku is singing. You can't call it back vocals. It's like she's filling the spaces. So Psyche is making a pause and then Miku sings it. Okay, the second verse. In the first, no guitars were playing. In this verse, they added like rhythm guitar, a simple one. So that's also a very interesting idea of composing the songs. That like BAND-MAID changes at each verse. Okay, let's continue. That's my favorite thing. So like Psyche is singing, then Kanami starts shredding at the back. Like Psyche is singing, then Misa is playing, and then Kanami adds her shredding part. Like it's like building up, really building up. Okay, I'll rewind it a little bit. I think it's somewhere here. Okay, let's listen to this again. That's the part I love. Like they really okay, Sagi is singing the chorus, then Misa is like adding her pulsation, and then Kanami adds her like shredding, let's call it shredding, so like a very fast part, and then Psyche starts singing higher and higher and higher and higher, and overall there's this progression is like really, that's Conqueror. Yeah, the whole idea is Conqueror. So this idea of power, you know, of like we coming after you or something, just here we come, the world, here we come. It's amazing.
Shall we?
We have to listen to this again because that's funny part. Psyche is singing something in Japanese, and then Miku is there like, shall we? So Psyche is like stating something powerful. I don't know. I haven't seen the lyrics yet, and probably like, okay, let's conquer the world. And then Miku's like, shall we? And that's just amazing. I love this part. Just let's listen to this again.
Shall we?
And Psyche is answering. So Miku's asking like, shall we? And Psyche like, and she's like scream really at the top of her voice. It's a really powerful part. Okay, I'll rewind it a little bit more. Okay, here it is. There was one more thing I wanted to say. What was it about? This idea escaped my mind. Okay, that was already pretty long reaction, like almost 32 minutes. That was just one song from the album. Really, it's funny actually because, as I said, I suggested to my wife that we go to BAND-MAID concerts this June in Europe, and we went. We went to Paris. Then she didn't want to go to Bochum, and in Hamburg, we went with her and my sister and my sister's husband. So I had 4 VIP tickets, which they did not use actually because they like, oh, we have to take a child from kindergarten and like we're late and sorry we cannot come early. So they came like 15 minutes before the start of the concert and they sat somewhere at the back on a sofa or something, and they were actually enjoying it. They say it was a nice concert, but of course my wife said that no, sorry, I'm not the fan of this sort of music. But today she just came to my room and the album was playing. It was just the song called Mirage which was playing, and I told her, can you hear it? Mirage, it's a BAND-MAID playing. And she's like, oh really, so interesting, it's such a great song. So yeah, she was not conquered by BAND-MAID music before. She liked softer versions, like while we were in Hamburg already after the last BAND-MAID concert, I stayed in my sister's house and we watched this movie about Queen. What is it called? Queen? Yeah, it's called Queen. And I immediately remembered that BAND-MAID has a tribute song, Bubble. So after this movie, I just played them Bubble and they were impressed. And then I played Start Over and they said, oh, such nice music. So that's another segment of society which actually appreciates BAND-MAID. And BAND-MAID themselves, they don't really try to be narrow, in their style. They just enjoy themselves. And they are themselves very different people with different tastes. You can feel it. It amazes me each time when I think about it, like when I look at the pictures, when they 5 of them, and I'm thinking they're really so different. Miku is really like this matchless gum, yeah, as this song Matchless Gum, and that's what I don't remember who said it. Maybe Miku herself interpreted it this way, that she's like a glue, a gum which holds this band together. And otherwise they're very different, and that actually allows them a lot of freedom in making music of different styles, because they're not afraid of like going separate ways, because many bands, they actually split at this moment, like, oh, I want to play a different type of music, and then another guy says, no, I don't like what you want to play, and then they choose their separate ways. That's what I think why many bands they split, they destroyed by these difference in tastes. But BAND-MAID is really powerful because they have this unity, in the band. And if somebody says, let's play something pop, they say, fine. And then, like, I don't know, Misa comes and says, let's play jazz. And they say, fine. And then, whatever, Psyche comes and says, let's play, like, enka music, because there are few songs in Conqueror album which really closer to this Japanese traditional style of music, like, which I can't say that I really liked it. It's nice music, but I was raised on a different type of music. So when I listen to all these anime openings and endings, there are some really great songs there, but they they it's not a consistent thing. Uh, like not all Japanese music, like traditional. It's not style. It's actually like the melody. Like you see that the type of a melody, the way they put the progression of notes, the way they create the melody, it has a special flavor, a special Japanese flavor. And BAND-MAID, what made them special is that they actually tried to be more Western, because their music is not really influenced so much by that. That was done on purpose by their management, I believe, because the management was telling them, no, you're not composing the right songs. And a lot of things actually changed when Konami was allowed to release her own melodies. Initially, they stayed with the old style, like this hard rock, classical heavy metal. But Japan is their birthplace, their motherland, and of course they influenced very much. And now they feel like, okay, we can do it. Let's play like what usually played for anime openings and endings. And that's what they create, like quite a few songs here with this attitude. I was thinking, like, what it reminds me of, what are the influences? I know that it sounds stupid in most cases, like, what does this band remind me of? Oh, it reminds me of some other band, which is like, then the person listens to you and says, like, it does remind you, but it just, okay, because you hear this band for the first time, of course you try to find something familiar, but in fact it sounds nothing like that. So yes, but it's interesting that in this album I try to I hear the influences. What are those influences? And then I realized that these are influences of themselves. So they actually BAND-MAID of 2019 is heavily influenced by BAND-MAID of 2014. If you listen to their first album, Made in Japan, they had a very interesting style of music, which was, we cannot say like theirs or not theirs, or it was forced on them by the management, whatever. They had some style actually. Miku says that they were searching for their sound and they couldn't find it, and when the management gave them Thrill, they thought, okay, if Thrill doesn't take off, let's disband, because it was getting too difficult, I think. And then Thrill really was a breakthrough, but the old things remain. I actually heard that at recent live shows they're playing the old songs. Like, what were they playing? Forward? Or something like really from the first album. I would love to hear, that I'm going to Japan to see them in January. Actually, my friend Yoki from Bremen, from Germany, coming with me. I'm really happy. Yoki, hello Yoki. I'm really happy that he actually decided to go as well. I actually have a few reaction videos from him. It was like 3.5 hours of recording when we just chatted in Skype, and there's a lot of things there. I want to cut this in pieces, just publish it little by little, but 3.5 hours, I just have to watch it all over again. Yoki is just great. He's a musician himself, and he's just real pleasure to talk to. And he's coming with me to Japan, so we will record some reaction before the concert, after the concert, and maybe we will hear in Nagoya and Kobe Aito Jonetsu no Matadoro. It's like one of my favorite songs from their first album. I think I should go to Saike's Twitter and say, are you going to make a remake of Aito Jonetsu no Matador? Matador of Love and Passion, yeah. I would really love to hear it. Also, there was another suggestion from Robert, I think, on YouTube, and he said they should do a rock and roll. That's another thing they should do. They should do rock and roll, like proper rock and roll, with Konami playing keyboard like this really rock and roll. I went to Konami Twitter and said, Konami, you need rock and roll. All great rock bands, they have rock and roll. Beatles had rock and roll, Led Zeppelin had rock and roll, one. Metallica didn't. Metallica had blues. Tuesday's gone. So Metallica didn't have rock and roll. Okay. Whatever. So I hope BAND-MAID compose. Actually, rock and roll. Flying High is pretty much like rock and roll. And I just thought that. Whatever. Guys, it's just wonderful album. Really go to Ototoy and buy it. Go to Ototoy and buy it. Here it is. Here it is. Ototoy. Ototoy. Go here and buy it. Okay, it was nice talking to you. See you in the next video.
Yo